Okay, today we're going to be looking at another cool major key solo. I'm going to be playing it over a backing track, and that backing track will be linked at the end of the lesson. We're going to be looking at how these simple movable chord shapes from the first position, otherwise known as triads, can help you create a roadmap of the fretboard in order to navigate when soloing. So as you watch me demo this solo, be looking for those three simple chord shapes. What I call the F shape, Cage calls the E, but when you come up the fretboard, it's much easier to visualize as a F shape since you're barring. The second one is your D shape, and the third one is the A shape, which when you come up the fretboard, you need to add that first string 2 frets behind. So watch for those as I demo this solo, and then on the other side I will break it down for you. Okay, so this is in G major. We have a G, we have a C, we have a D. Very simple chords, and we are going to create a solo that travels the fretboard in a descending pattern. We're going to start up here at the 10th and 12th frets, and this is the A shape of a G chord, right? You should see that as your octave of your open G. And I've shown in other lessons how when you have the A shape or the F shape of a given chord, again in this case of a G major triad, you've got a variety of cool licks on the first 2 strings, including these hammer-ons that go up 2 frets on the second string. And there's also a hammer-on that goes up 1 fret, which over the A shape is a sus4, and over the F shape is going from the 6th to the 7. Now you can also play those hammer-ons as pedal steel-ish bends, which is what I did in the video. So you're just simply bending that 12th fret 2nd string up a half step from the B note to the C. Think of this. It's the same thing as your sus4 over an F shape. We're doing a sus4 over an A shape. So I bent that, returned it, and then just went down 3, 2, 1 in the G major scale. So I did that twice. Again, if you were doing it down here, you'd be bending from a 6 to a 7. You can do it as a bend, you can do it as a hammer-on. And incidentally, you can play the whole solo down here, right? You've got your G, you've got your C, you could travel here for the D, or you could travel here. You've got your 3 chords close by, but to add some interest to your solo, you want to navigate a little bit more of the fretboard, and this descending pattern, if you will, I think adds more interest. Okay, so we know the chord change is going to a C. We're up here at the 10th fret. We want to find our next closest C chord. That's how we're navigating. Well, we've got this one down here of the F shape of the C chord. We've also got the D shape of a C chord there at 12 and 13. But again, since I'm going down, I'm going to use this one, and I found myself landing on this G note at the 12th fret, 3rd string, so I thought, well, why not just walk down to the C? So that's what I did. I went 12, 11, 10, 9, and then played a C arpeggio, that F shape of the C chord, triad at 8 and 9. Okay, so we're starting on that E note, the major third of the C chord, and then, as I said a minute ago, you've got these easy hammer-ons anytime you're over the F shape. Where's the A shape of a C chord? It's there. So I could do either one, but since I'm here, I'm doing this one. I think I did it a couple of times. And then I know the chord's going back to the G, right? This is 1 to 4, back to 1. Where's our closest G if we're going to descend? Well, it's right there, conveniently, our D shape of the G chord. So I just went. So really what I've got there is a G sus4, right? You know your sus4 over your D chord. You've done that a million times, right? So we're just outlining a G sus4. And so I found myself there over that D shape of a G chord, so I did a little hammer-on. We're just hammering from the D note to the E note at the 7th and 9th frets. It's the same as that hammer-on I talked about a minute ago. We're hammering from the 5 to the 6 in a G major. And now we know that the chord's about to go to a D. Well, we've got a D sitting right there, right? Our A shape of a D chord. So before I went to it, I did one of the classic bends that you can do in this D box, D-shaped box. Shown you those kinds of licks many times. So I bent that 10th fret, 2nd string, bend and release, come down to 8, and again outlining a sus4 chord, a D sus4. So 2, 3, 4 at the 7th fret. Okay, so after you walk down that D sus4 arpeggio, you're coming to the end of the chord progression, and if you watch the backing track, you'll find that over the C he goes, he walks down this C, A minor, D, G. It's all very quick. For our purposes, to keep it simple, it's all in that C environment, right? Because we know that A minor is the relative minor to C. So what I did was I played C licks out of that A shape of a C major chord there, which you can see shares these two notes of an A minor chord, right? So we're sliding into the E note, 5th fret, 2nd string, picking up the 1st string, 3rd fret G note, down to the D note, down to the C note. So again, we're kind of outlining a C sus2 / into an A minor. And I've also shown you in other lessons how with this A box, A-shaped box, you always have, those top 3 strings, that nice little box that ends on the 7 of a chord in In this case, again, it's the C chord of an A shape. I didn't go down to the 7 because there isn't a C7 in this chord progression, but just know that that's there. It's a nice little box there. So what I did was, and now we're going to our G, we're going home, we're going back to our 1. And that's it, right? That's the ending. So 5, 4, and then we're set perfectly to fall into a G chord, and I played a little G6, which is the E note on the 5th fret, 2nd string, before resolving. So as you're practicing over this backing track, try playing these licks in every position. In other words, play G licks over this shape of the G chord, this shape of the G chord, this shape of the G chord. Do the same thing with C licks. We got C, we got C, we got C, we got C, etc. Try doing it all in one place. In other words, play over G, C, D, play over G, C, D. Do it ascending. And then see if you can find another simple 1/4 backing track, 1/4/5 backing track in any other key, and practice it that way as well. Switch keys up a little bit. All right, hope this was helpful today. Thanks as always for joining me. See you next time.